Yeah, you guys already talked about what you watched. I couldn't believe that they actually even had this. Fucking Lost Boys Thirst. It was absolutely atrocious.
What year was this?
2010.
Oh,
and
God.
I think, Matt, you're right. I think it was right after they filmed Haim and him were filming that A&E show.
When did Haim pass?
No, they...
I can't remember.
It was probably around that time, though.
That might have been the last shit he did.
No, they had the reality show, remember? The two Corys.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
The destruction.
Is that what it was called? The two Corys?
Yes.
That was,
the
yeah.
two Corys,
Yeah, it was the A&E show, remember?
Yep.
And he was so depressed, dude, Corey Haim.
Yeah.
And Feldman was just on that whole... He was on a revenge path to Hollywood, you know?
Yeah.
For what they did to both of them.
But they had a Lost Boys too.
Yeah, dude. So the movie is basically...
Sacrilegious.
It starts off with the Frog Brothers. They're in D.C. And this senator is
actual
tied to a
actors?
chair. Yeah.
Oh
Corey
my
Feldman
God.
and the other Frog Brother.
Right.
Yeah, and so it starts off in D.C. and the senator's tied to a chair, and then they wheeled in this old fucking politician, and they give him denture fangs, and they're all feed, and you'll be able to, you'll feel better, and then they bust in and they fucking flash in their UV lights.
So they're the fucking
Dude,
vampire
it is the
police and
dumbest
shit?
fucking shit I've ever seen.
That's all I need to hear.
Put it this way, it was so
That's
bad.
horrible.
No, but his acting in it. Like, how could you get worse as you grow up as an actor?
He did, man.
He was so good in all his,
proven
like,
before.
License to Drive, Gremlins.
Lots of actors.
You know what I mean? He was,
Stand By Me.
Corey Feldman was the shit.
Bubs, let's
It's
face
so
it.
bad.
Those guys weren't at any point in their
I
career
know.
like
That's
prolific
fine.
actors.
You know how many child actors are still good when they grow up?
Yeah, but not many. I mean, not. It happens,
I don't even know any off the top.
Macaulay Culkin is pretty good, bro.
True, yeah, but like
I
it's
think a lot of that
difficult.
had to do with life experiences, drugs.
Kirsten Dunst, amazing when she got older.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there is quite a lot of
That's few far in between.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Anyway, the dumbest premise ever.
It all starts
basically
with the fact that they did
straight
two.
ripped it from True Blood, where it was this DJ that's a vampire that's unleashing this new drug on the rave scene in the world, and it's gonna change all of the
feeling
human
nauseous
race.
just hearing
Yeah,
this.
and it's basically vampire blood. I'm all really? That's what they're doing?
It's only noodles, Michael. I just want to go back to the good
That's
place.
it?
a pile of shit
Fucking
has
so
1,000
horrible.
eyes.
It was so bad, bro. Like
God,
it
sounds bad.
It should be erased from the annals of horror.
From the anals, I mean. my God.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
No, but the worst part of it was Corey Feldman had this thing through. I don't know if it was the director or maybe
bet you it
Corey
was
was
his
like.
push to
Corey
do it.
was like, he's all, this is my thing. Where every time he would do the grunt, he'd be all, and it was just he did it like 50 fucking times through the whole movie, dude. It was so bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's depressing.
That is very
And
depressing.
they redid the
depressing.
song, dude. Thou shalt not.
Oh,
Yeah, they
stop.
redid it. In
It's
the
just
beginning.
getting worse. Everything out of your mouth is getting worse and worse.
And to be honest,
The band
that was the
redid
best
that?
part of the movie. Yeah, dude.
the original band?
No, totally different band. But
my
'Cause they did all
God.
the
funny
real
thing, here's the funny thing.
great hits.
That was the best part of the movie. Because the redone version was
shit,
actually
right.
not that bad.
Really?
Did you see
It
that you
sounded
could get
the
an
same.
action figure of the saxophone player?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think you're the one that said
yeah.
it.
Classic, huh?
That's fucking
That's
badass.
awesome. He's all
Dude.
I'm not-
glistening and
I'm not
the
a toy
ponytail.
collector, but
Yeah.
that's pretty fucking
Dude,
dope,
they make some killer toys nowadays. Like
Yeah.
random, like weird.
That's how. That's when you do it random.
yeah.
You're
It was
like
so
the
fucking
saxophone
bad.
guy from
I
Lost
just had to say that. I want to get it out of my system because it was fucking
Good.
horrible.
Well, let's move on, especially because of the theme of this session. To kind of bring it back, this is the whole deal and why we're here. Is we are fans of horror, and we're fans of everything horror related.
Yeah.
And people, we're gonna make sense of all this madness. That's exactly what we're gonna do. So, I mean, whether it's to Faces of Death, Traces of Death, to Leatherface, to Dracula, to zombies, to anything,
CrazyShit.com.
yeah, to Nuke 'Em High, to anything you can possibly think of, even down to Gremlins. And yes, people, Gremlins is not only a Christmas movie; it's
It
a
is a
fucking
horror
horror
film.
movie.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sense of all this shit for you, and dig real deep in this bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the first one we're going to start off with is,
Yeah.
I guess it's only right that we started
It's-
from here because it kind of does have the oldest origin that ties in with the
Yeah.
goth age and as far as literature and everything, movies, cinema, everything.
It makes
If you
the most
think of it,
sense.
one of the first horror films and maybe even cinema films is Nosferatu.
Well,
Yeah.
and
You know?
vampires, and fucking let's get into it, guys.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think it's one of the most accessible. I mean, we saw it on Looney Tunes and like all kind of TV shows when we were kids. Like it was just all over.
right.
Yeah, Sesame
Vampires
Street,
were
dude.
everywhere.
Sesame Street.
Fucking Looney Tunes.
I mean, we got
The
Sesame
Count.
Street, Count. Yeah. What else? It's on
but
fucking
there was
cereal.
even Warner Brothers before then. Like, wasn't Daffy Duck like trying to be like Dracula and shit?
Well, they had Count Duckula.
Count Duckula,
Count
right?
Duckula.
I remember that
And
one.
then you got Count Chocula.
Well,
Yeah,
now,
cereal.
we're going to cereal. Like,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
the date on that?
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking 70s?
Oh man, I don't remember a time without Count Chocula.
Right, right. So now that whole that whole facade, that whole story is going into acceptable children's fare, and even something beloved as Disney. Now they're going, okay, well, we need a beloved vampire character, but like. Let's Bubs give it to us. Let's start at
Well,
the
one
root
of the-
of
if you have
this.
to start it-
where does this all
We're not
come
going to go
from?
deep into this one, but of course, if you're going to start talking about vampires, you have to talk about Vlad
Yeah.
the
Vlad
Third.
the Impaler,
Vlad
the
the Third,
motherfucking Impaler, people.
most commonly known as Vlad the Impaler or Vlad Dracula from Romania. Now, I'm not going to get deep into his whole history
Right,
because
but this has been shown in movies.
the only thing they took away
ever.
from him was the name Dracula.
Yeah.
Because all he did was stick fucking logs up people's asses and through their
Impaling.
mouths.
Yeah,
Right.
that was a crazy
He
story.
didn't drink
though.
blood. He didn't do any of that. He was a ruler. He was a prince. He had mistresses and whatnot. He was a
It was like
fucking
Genghis
huge
Khan.
castle.
Like he was
yeah,
just a tyrant.
yeah,
right.
he did some fucked up shit.
Right. But he
And
got that.
There are other, and here there are
drinker
other
of blood.
Eastern European variants that are known from Dracula.
Right.
One is the I don't even know how you pronounce a couple of these, but
Streak.
Strieg
Yeah.
from Albania,
Yeah, I heard that.
Vrikoikas from Greece, and the one I've heard of is Strigoli.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, that's
basic.
Shirley Romania.
Vlad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And every culture kind of has its thing, just like with Bigfoot.
Did
Every culture literally, minus Hawaiians.
No,
we
but
have, we have many Hoonies, but
Right.
but every culture in the world has a form of Bigfoot.
But-
just like for Dracula,
Yeah.
there are, and I mean, it goes to it was so deeply embedded into human culture, and that they even named a species of bat after it.
Exactly.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah. The vampire bat.
Which it ties right into how they wove the old, because the original writings of it was actually through poetry before it was actually written in books.
Right. Yeah.
And the very first book known that was one of the stock figures of Gothic fiction was the Polidori's The Vampire in 1819,
Right.
which was inspired by the life and legend of Lord Byron, who was who, Matt?
Well, Lord Byron was one of the circle of people who were with Mary Shelley.
Right, there you
one of-
go. That's right.
That was one of Mary Shelley's friends, and I think he was there that night she wrote Frankenstein.
And Lord Byron also later influenced works including Penny Dreadful,
Oh, yeah.
The Varney the Vampire, 1847, Sheridan Le Fanu's Tale of Lesbian Vampires, which was
awesome.
how many films did they
I
make?
mean,
Carmela.
come
Oh
on,
yeah,
dude.
well those are the best ones. I mean, besides for Horror of Dracula and some of the other Christopher Lee ones, the best series is the Karnstein or whatever her name is.
Right.
Lesbian vampire.
Yeah,
And
and that's
I
all
mean,
based on
come
Bathory.
on.
And we're there's a lot of other shit, but I'm just gonna skip right to
Yeah.
the more
We
modern
don't
stuff,
need
which
to-
was obviously one of the greats, Bram Stoker's Dracula
Yep.
in 1897.
Yeah,
Yes.
And then,
not a good book.
When did they bring in the whole wearing the cross on your neck, and they shy away from that? That's from the early Dracula movies, huh?
Yeah, it's got to be from the
The
first
31,
ones.
yeah, the 1931.
Yeah. All that imagery is just pro Christianity showing.
Right.
Because I don't remember any of that in
Yeah,
Nosferatu.
I never thought of that. You're totally right, dude. The power of Christ compels you, like
Yeah.
the whole religious aspect. Oh, it's okay if you're go to church and shit, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And now I don't know how that correlates with garlic, but it's an Italian thing.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't know how the fuck they got that, man.
Yeah.
Garlic of anything.
Yeah.
So they're just gonna eat food that tastes like shit. Well, actually, they
Yeah,
don't
no
eat
shit.
food. So
Yeah. Well, and
what about that? You just eat tons of garlic, and if they suck your blood, they'll die, right?
Yeah.
Fuck. Why hasn't anybody done that before?
just shoot up with garlic.
Nobody's done
Water.
that in any vamp movie, right?
No, I haven't seen it.
Like, I would just eat a shitload of garlic.
Yeah, that'd be
And
classic.
they try and bite you, and they're all. And then if you go skip to 1976 of the more modern recent times of novel is Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire. Also won a lot of Academy Awards.
Well, I mean, the cast in that was
Which was a
sensational.
total.
That's
not
one
necessarily
of the hierarchies of vampire films.
not
for sure.
necessarily my type though. The whole American colonial.
No, but it stuck
like,
true to like Christopher Lee and that era.
She killed
with,
it.
She told that story of the age, which was
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
we saw
Yes.
him going through times.
Right.
But what was cool was the girl, I thought, because I never thought about that, like that because you
Portrayed
stay
by
the same
Kristen Dunst.
age. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you stay the same
Yeah.
age, and
The
she's
young
just
vampire,
yeah, it's
right?
crazy.
Yeah,
Which I
actually,
think
you're
the
right.
only other
Yeah.
times we saw that was like in Lost Boys.
Yep.
Where you saw actual kids
little kid,
being
yeah.
like murderous vampires, and you're just like, wait, what?
Shit, maybe even that's why Laddie was like that. It was kind
Laddie.
of inspiring, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, guys, we got to start. If we're gonna start at the core, besides the history and you know and animals of vampires, we got to start with Nosferatu. I
Yeah.
mean, oh my God, it starts.
The scariest.
Oh, I mean, fucking it
Silent
was,
film.
Yeah.
right? Like 1922.
Yeah.
One of the first, you know, what not the first, but one of the original part of the original black and white silent film era.
Yeah, that. Oh yeah, yeah. When you watch it, it's one that has the title, the cards that put up what they're saying.
Exactly. This is like historical, and not only the first one of the first horror films.
Might be even one
but
of the first films, cinema.
Yeah, exactly.
One of them.
And the fact that when you dig deep and you start reading about it, it's like this guy that portrayed Nosferatu. You know,
Didn't look too
what
far
was the
off
whole-
of
no,
what
but
he
what was
actually
the whole
looked like in the
story
film.
behind it? Was it real?
No, and
Was it acting?
No, he had some kind of. Didn't he have like a disease
was
or
some
something?
shit.
Yeah, and he was just a weird. He was just a
like a
weird guy
hermit,
that the
like a-
director found.
Yeah.
F.R. Murrow found. He just found
Right.
this guy.
And William Defoe
Which
played
later this whole thing
in the 2000
Exactly.
adaptation, which
Great,
was
great
yeah,
movie.
Oh,
Shadow of a
sensational.
Vampire.
Shadow of a Vampire.
a
Yeah,
must
awesome.
watch. Yeah.
Max Schreck. That was the guy's name.
Max Schreck.
Max
That's
Schreck.
it.
And I mean, he was he wasn't. You know, he wasn't a vampire. He wasn't a monster. He was just a weird fucking guy. You know.
Oh God.
Yeah, he had some
extreme.
kind of
Just hiring
illness,
some
or he
weirdo.
was just you
Yeah,
know.
where he was like super pale and
Yeah.
always sickly, and he couldn't grow hair, and
He's just
you know,
the dude. He was probably the
fucking
first
ears.
method
he had dental
actor.
problems
Yeah.
and shit, right?
He's probably the first method actor ever. Because when you watch that movie, they didn't have special effects back then. So look at how he looks.
Right.
Like he looks like a monster. Like
Well, and they totally played that in the remake
Yeah.
too. You know,
Well,
they were so
I-
scared. They were like, "Oh, he looks so good already. Like we don't have
Yeah.
to do any makeup."
I'm
No,
still
yeah.
kind of
We
convinced
didn't
like there's
put
no
any makeup
method
on him.
acting in it. Like,
No,
the motherfucker was like for real.
no, but yeah, right, yeah, exactly. He just was a freak to
You know what that
begin with.
kind of reminds me of?
They got
It's
Hollywood
not. It's not
gold,
necessarily
is
a.
what they call it.
You know what that character and that everybody thinking like, "Oh, he looks great," but that's just how he looks.
Yeah.
Was fucking wreck.
Yeah,
You know?
the
Like
the
people
end.
think, "Oh, how did you put him in that? Was that a bodysuit? Was that
Yeah.
CGI?" Like, no, that
That's
dude
just how he
looks
looked.
like that.
Yeah, he's got a condition.
Right.
You know, like how can you? The same guy who played Tarman,
Yeah.
skinny as fuck.
Yeah,
Like Anthony Daniels is 3PO.
yeah.
They just found super frail,
Well, that's when
fragile.
you needed to, you know, it's about finding the right look, right character.
They found it, but that one I don't. That's not one that I have history with because I didn't see that
well, it's
until
yeah,
later.
right. We saw it later, and it's
But
not
I
the
remember
greatest.
the imagery. Like I remember him up the stairs,
The black
that
and white.
shadow. Yep, I
Yes,
remember that picture.
He looked like Gollum.
Yeah.
The fucking shadow
His
of
ears
him,
and-
that face.
Yeah,
Looks
and
so much like Gollum.
Coming up out of the coffin, the way that they did it with the board, and they just picked it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You know-
remember that from like TV and stuff like that.
Actually
was
good.
just-
It was
Aaron.
actually
No,
stunning.
that's actually
Yeah.
good. I never thought of that. What if?
He
I mean,
totally
J.R.
looked
Tolkien
fucking
is such a
dumb.
big author, and he influenced so many writers. What if
He
that
got
person was just
Gollum
like
was Nosferatu,
yeah?
or
Because I mean, he
Max-
totally looks like a Gollum.
yeah,
you know.
totally.
Oh,